Just realized that I'm on mute. Hello, 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 folks. Good evening. I hope you can see and hear me clearly. Hopefully, my volume is working. I'm just going to check the comments window to see if everything is working fine. Not audible. I'm on mute. I think the not audible part is because I was on mute. I'm no longer on mute. It should be working now. Hello, hello to all of you. All clear, all clear. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Shanto saying hi, hi. Dilip Kumar saying not audible. I think now it should be audible. Now it should be audible. We obviously work with a delay when it comes to YouTube. About a 30-second delay, not 20-minute delay. 30-second delay, it should be working. No, it should be fine. Super, super, super. I'm going to wait for maybe another 1 or 2 more minutes, then jump in. DALR was tough. The D-Day comes to an end. Devrata fifth time, bilkul nahi, absolutely no chance. Sometimes I feel like, look, I've done well. Sometimes only in those times do I have a chance. Sometimes I know very well straight away that it's not going to happen. This is one of those times. Slot 3 DALR was very tough. Tell me about it. Yeah, I had a complete nightmare. There's a chance that I can tank my DALR score. I'm going to give some just thoughts that I've heard from people. Account for this as usual with a pinch of salt. Fine. So this is a hey, let's all take stock kind of session. Fine. So let's gather our thoughts. What I've heard, what people have told me from about slot 1, slot 2, slot 3. Most of the things I've heard only in the last half. I don't want to get information before I go for my slot. I usually stay away from that. But whatever I've gathered after that, it was like usual. The typical format. The one format changes the DALR is 4 sets of 5 questions each. Sorry, I'm poking around a little bit because I want to keep my screen open and keep the YouTube screen open. Give me a second. Yeah. Lovely. So I'll give a quick download about slot 3. Slot 3, I thought the PRC was all right. I thought the passages were fun. 3 out of 4 passages were very readable. Usually when I do mocks, usually 2-3 passages which I get bored with. Here, 3 were reasonably interesting. 4th one was also interesting. 3 were like, okay, I can read this. So it was good fun. The questions were, I think they've fallen into one trap of just putting double negative, triple negative. I think sometimes when I set questions for mocks, I'm paranoid about falling into the same pattern. And I'm paranoid about it. So instead of creating a quadratic equation, and we create 2 quadratic equations. Or instead of creating a quadratic equation in X, we create in mod X. Instead of asking for answer, we ask for how many answers are possible. Instead of asking how many answers are possible, we say what is the sum of all possible values. One more layer of complexity. And I think in VIRC, they've taken one Weinker inspiration and said, instead of saying which of the following is true, they have come to ask, and all of the following can be interpreted possibly from this, except. So, or none of these can be inferred from the passage, except. So, double negatives have become their way of saying we'll make it slightly tricky. And when they want to make it more tricky, they introduce a triple negative. And so, and I'm getting bored with this because I think they can create high quality questions without just falling into that. How do you create a tough question? Create a question and put a double negative in front of it. How do you create it tougher? Put a triple negative in front of it. All of the following disagree with the author's main premise, except. So, or none of the following agree with the whatever, reinforce what the author is saying, except. So it becomes one easy way for them to contrive tough question. And I think they should definitely look to do better than that. The trickiest part was unraveling the question. One question out of 16 like that is fine, but it was there everywhere. One thing they've reintroduced here is to say which of these 5 words talk about the thread of the passage, which I thought was interesting and was well constructed, not too tricky, not too vague. So it was all right. It was fun. So VRC was fine. LRDI, from what I've heard, I took slot 3 LRDI. It was a complete nightmare. And I did one set. and I missed out completely on one set. I looked at the paper and I said, look, this has graphs in it, bar graph. I'm doing it. And then I said, look, I don't want to start with it. It can easily be my second puzzle because DI and I'm fine. But I did another puzzle to start off. I went there. But by the time I finished it, I was so frazzled that I completely forgot that I had earmarked this one thing as my favorite and went on to this AI ML thing, which was a complete nightmare, and I got it wrong. And I got it wrong and I had made some mistake, and then I doubled down on it. I said, look, I'm going to get this right. Aur kuch to hone wala nahi hai. Isko try marta hu. Which didn't work. So I've just done one set of questions, which I'm feeling very weird because I confidently marked 4 answers. And when the 5th one came, my answer was not there in the choices. I don't know what I have done with those 4. So I'm not at all feeling happy about LRDI. And so quant was also lengthy. Lots of questions were lengthy and not juicy. I usually get happy when there is some beautiful funda that has to be cracked and not some solving part. And so there are lots of things which were heavy duty solving and reframing, and too few where it was a beautiful idea that's being explored and tested. And so in LRDA also, I felt that puzzles were contrived difficult. Add 2 more constraints, put 2 more variables, put a 4 by 5 table and make them have 4 variants, 3 possibilities, and then select one. And say choices also 6 or 7 or 8. So add one more layer to it rather than have some fundu juicy idea to it. So I got beaten up in LRDI, got a little bored in quant. So I thought VRC was all right. LRDI was super tough, to the complete nightmare. So it was a complete wash for me. If I come back with some section cut off cross, I'll be happy. I'll say, look, I've not embarrassed myself. Quant was all right. Quant was not a pain point. In quant, there were few more questions from x's and y's and quadratic equations and a little bit on functions than usual. So more x's and y's than usually we find. So more algebra linked than arithmetic linked. And so the questions were time consuming and then with lots of x's and y's thrown in. I found that to be the case. I was told by people, and this could be totally wrong, LRDI was uniformly tough. Right? LRDI in slot 1 was tough, slot 3 was ridiculously tough, slot 2 was all right. This could be totally wrong. We get this wrong very easily and very frequently. And apparently the bar graph thing with the rates and 4 different chart thing, that was a near freebie in slot 3. Those of you who have not got that, then like me, you're feeling bad about it. I'm super happy, super relieved that I'm not taking this as my real cat. I've been seething and said, look, why have you, mina matlab mein mera life kharab kar diya type. Right? I'm going to ask a few questions. So thoughts, quant lengthier than last time, tough questions and time consuming. LRDI super tricky. Sorry about this. Give me a second. Sorry, I think I need to give. Sorry, I have 3 more people waiting on the panel and I've forgotten to bring them in. Sorry about that. Hi, panelists. Thank you. Good to see you all. Sorry that I started this and started chatting with people beforehand. Sorry about that. I'll do a very quick recap of what we have been discussing so that you guys can come on board, then introduce you to the rest of the gang. BRC was doable. Well, the passages were not vague, too vague. The questions were, the pain point was there are too many questions with double negatives. So the questions were not juicy, but just with double negatives. A little bit of a pain. LRDI was a nightmare. I heard that one DI-ish set in slot 3 was more doable. I have no idea about that. But LRDA was a nightmare. Quant was not too difficult, not too easy. The heavy bias towards x's and y's in algebra, not juicy, but time consuming. And so I'm going to introduce my fellow panelists. I think you guys, most of them you guys will already know perhaps, but I will do the way of introducing as well. And so we have Akim. Akim handles our YouTube channel for 2IM. We've been taking classes, he's handled YouTube sessions, all of that. And, we have Jatin. Jatin is our verbal packages, our VRC in-house guru. So anything about RC passages, you should ask him. by which I mean, don't ask me. And we have Mr. Arch Srinivas with us, who's had a long and glorious career as a cat mentor across several places. So he's headed practically all the known names in our country, like Time, Career Launcher. He worked with all of them, and he headed divisions, headed their entire cat thing for Career Launcher, headed a big city for Time. And one of the beautiful things is he's had a wonderful set of relationships with almost everybody else. So I think I never tire of telling you guys this, that most of us, the cat preparation industry, it's actually rather easy to pick up the phone and talk to someone else. It's easy to reach out, except maybe some of our newfangled only online players. They're a little. I'm less. I find it tougher to reach them, but otherwise, within the industry, it is so much easier to just pick up the phone and have a conversation. So I've had a nice set of chats with Arch. He said, "Look, you guys should try this, not try this. This worked for us. This didn't work for us." One of the reasons why we said, "Look, jump on and chip in." So that's the panel. I'm going to just a recap. VRC was, as per usual, not unusually tougher or easy. Quant, more X's and Y's, more time consuming, less juicy, slightly boring. LRDI, complete nightmare, at least for me in slot 3. I'm told across the board that there's 4 questions, or 4 sets of 5 questions each. Was a little bad. There were too many vigorously time-consuming sets and too few nice, juicy, solvable sets. There's nothing in LRDI which a decently powerful candidate can do in 15-16 minutes. Like, you're good on top of your game, it still takes 21 minutes to get everything right. That means you're already squeezed, and your best beautiful case scenario is 5 + 5, 10 in the bag. And one thing goes wrong, you're in trouble. So LRDI cutoff, I think several people have been asking that on YouTube. My gut feel is 4 questions right, you're clearing cutoff. Cutoff being 80th percentile, 3 questions, 10 marks and 80th percentile ho jayega in LRDI. Don't hold me to this. Don't come back on Jan 7th or 8th and said you said it didn't happen. I'm sticking my neck out here. But 10 marks and you're crossing 80th percentile in LRDI is my gut feel, because it was a complete nightmare. 2 sets right and you're rock star score. You're at 98, 99, 99 beyond. 5 questions right. That is 1 set completely right. You're probably north of 90th percentile. Somewhere between that 8 marks, I think Arx was mentioning this. From 8 marks to 13 marks could be a giant leap. Like, it could be like 6 marks is 55th percentile and 11 marks is 88th percentile. There could be one jump in 4 marks. It usually happens in LRDI that there 2 questions right to 4 questions right, you start flying. It could happen because the entire range is going to be camped between 5 marks and 13 marks. 60% of candidates are going to be sitting there. So being on this end or that end can make a huge difference. I found LRDI to be nightmarish, long, tricky, tiring, everything. And so I'm going to hand it over to the rest of the panel. Over to you, Arx. Please start off, and then we'll have a session with Jatin and.
Yeah, I think you spent a lot of time on DILR. I'll probably start with that and go to the other ones. Like you said, from a 50th percentile with 6-7 marks to an 80th percentile in 11, 12, 13 marks. That is what is going to happen. And then there will be like a slow increase to 18, 20. But I believe that somewhere around the 99, 98, 99 also, there'll be again a huge jump. 3 sets somebody could solve, and suddenly you will find that, wow, between 2 sets to 3 sets also, there will be a significant number of people who could have solved.
Those are the people we should all fight against. People who get 3 sets right.
That is one. The other thing is, like I said, Rajesh, I have seen this. Now after you are speaking to you, I was talking to GP and others also who are my erstwhile colleagues. I think very interestingly, what you said is correct. The easiest set among all 12 sets that have come in today's CAT is the bar chart set of.
But I'm not happy at all.
But many people missed out. And the only reason they missed out, as you rightly said a little earlier, because it looked unwieldy. It looked 4 big sets, 4 big bar graphs. You have to go left, you go to right, you go to top, you go to bottom. And people got intimidated by that. And they didn't even probably see it. Because others, looked juicily possible, like you use the word juicy, like tantalizingly nice, and they would have stood that up also. That is one. Go quant. Frankly, like I said, it was like I said to you before this call. There was nothing which was like wow. It was like "theek hai, chal raha hai." It was like a slow passenger train. Somewhere you will finish, and you don't feel good about this quantitative exam, like a cat typically does. You will have some beautiful questions in quant. I think they were missing it as far as slot 3 was concerned, for sure.
Correct. Long questions, but not juicy questions.
Not interesting questions. Exactly. Boring is the right word for it, kind of thing. And the third, for verbal RC, here is my take on it. I think we will ask Jatin, the expert here. I felt verbal was fine. I mean, 4 or 5 questions were very much doable. So if you had done all 8, you would have got something like 5 correct and 3 wrong even. You can get that 12 marks, 13 marks kind of things there. But if it comes to RC, while the passages were not difficult, were easy to understand, I think somewhere I think CAT has lost the ability to make a good question. They're making the question bad or tough to understand, which was whereas the idea would have been to make the 4 choices very juicy and nice and eliminatable. That is not true at all as far as this kind of concerned. So out of the 16, if somebody does all 16, we'll still get about 10 right and 6 wrong. So I would say somewhere between 24 net here and 10, 12 net, the 36 to 38 would be a very decent 97, 98 percentile or even more. That's my overall take.
Yeah, I'm with you there, but I think it would probably be even more because I think what you're saying is a good candidate performance type thing. Like 24 here and 12 there. It's possible, doable. I can see that split also, but that means you're really doing well.
Correct. And last, before I leave it to others, is my sense from the raw score for slot 3 would be a 99 percentile will not go beyond 93, 94 at best. And a 94, 95 percentile, which is what your new IIMs, all the IIMs will get you a score at. I think it will need not be, I think it will be as low as 70. As low as 70. That's my take on this one.
Wonderful. Thanks a ton. I think we will do the numbers, have a bunch of chats, and come up with this number. Maybe put it on a table and stick our neck out and say maybe this could be the range sometime in the next 2 days. I'm not even jumping into that, but first cut I think spot on with the funda that like for like with last year, so that the marks required for each percentile is going to be slightly fewer at every level, because I think VRC was more or less the same level. LRDA was smidgen tougher, at least I would argue that. Quant was lengthier, therefore marks would have been might have gotten beaten down. Therefore, I think overall, so if what 99th percentile was 96, 97 marks last time, this time it's going to be 91, 92. And likewise, every like for like percentile could be that much lower, fewer marks can get you there. So a kick ass, so 99th percentile, maybe 40 marks or 37, 38, maybe 40, 41 for VRC will probably take one there. 17, 18 marks or maybe 20 marks tops in LRDA will take you there. Again, 35, 38 marks might take you to 99th percentile in quant. Somebody is getting all 3, then you're going higher 99. That's where your overall number will head towards. Again, we will do the thinking and number crunching and figuring out and correcting our biases, all of that. Over to you, Jatin, jump in.
Yeah, sure. So, okay. So before I give my take on, I only give a take on VRC. I don't really attempt the other 2 sections, although I did try this time. Rajesh, I took your advice and I tried it. It was hilarious. Anyway, coming now to VRC, now disclaimer here, my concentration today was all over the place. I was sitting in a very noisy area in the center. There was this table of so-called invigilators beside me who were chatting away to glory. And I told them 5 times almost to shut up, but they didn't listen. The door was open. There was a cop shouting outside on a on a microphone and all of that. Anyway, those are all excuses at the end of the day. I should have managed it better, but I have an issue with concentration. The moment I hear one voice, and it just goes for a toss. So that's why personally, my VRC wasn't great if I compare it with, let's say, last year, right? But leaving that apart, keeping my performance aside, my take on VRC is that it was tougher than last year.
Okay.
Okay. Now there are two things. If I do a direct slot 3 to slot 3 comparison, because I was in slot 3 this year and last year as well, way tougher. Last year, slot 3 was a breeze. In terms of RC, questions were very straightforward. VA was very profitable. I didn't find that this time, right? I would say this was tougher than slot 3, and overall, if I look at it, I would still say a smidgen tough than 2021. Okay, so that's my take on that overall. The passages, yeah, I agree with Arks. I think the passages were doable. The content was fine, except one, which was tricky, which I left. But the questions, I found them tricky. Like, it took me a while to sort of get my head around eliminating options. I did find the options close. So I don't know if that was just me or the questions or the options were sort of very close. So in terms of RCs, I remember like the 3 that I attempted. One was around social disorganization and crime rate correlation, which I thought was medium. The easy to medium one was how software should not replace humans, but partner with them. This was a straightforward passage. And then there was a third dense one, which was around Orientalism influence on India's past. That was dense. And the fourth one, though, I left it, which was around nature's gifts, and it went into science. So I just totally left that. So yeah, that's on the RC part. VA also I thought was tricky. I personally didn't find a single freebie in the VRC section of today's paper. So yeah, overall, I would say it was tougher than last year, and I would expect the cutoff to go down by 2 to 3 marks for VRC. So I think around 26 was 85 percentile last year. I would expect 85 percentile to be in early 20s this year.
Yeah. So 90th percentile overall, all put together, 90th percentile overall should be a good percentile. Could be ballpark of 50 marks perhaps. Am I in that right ballpark? 50 marks
overall again, I won't be able to assess because I don't really look at the 2 sections, but yeah, early 20s for me would be 85, so around 19. VRC would be like around what, 26, 27 maybe? Yeah, maybe around that.
So 50 marks overall, I would put that around the 90th percentile mark. That should keep you in the mix for a bunch of fantastic colleges. So it was a properly tough paper. I think as we're digesting it, we get the feeling that probably even tougher than what we thought it would be.
Rajesh, I might add a point here. Last year, around 61 was 90 percentile. While it will come down probably by 2-3 marks, but I don't think it's going to, because when you talk about raw scores, it may not come down as low as 50. So this is my take, of course. I might be completely wrong. I believe that around 57 to 58 will still be the 90th percentile. The reason is very simple. The reason is very simple for that, Rajesh. Why I agree with Jatin partially that the verbal will be tougher. So 24 marks would be that 85th percentile. So if I look at the same 85th percentile for the other 2 also, even if I take it at 11, 11, 12, 12, that's 85, 85, 85 will be only 50. 85, 85, 85. In fact, it will not be 12 if you remember. It will be only around 10 marks for DI, for example. So when you're talking about adding those things, that 85 would be only around 87 percentile because it will not go as high as 90. So maybe 3-4 marks.
Maybe a little more. Correct. So the 80. Correct. So 85 might not result in an overall 90. Might be.
It will be 87, 87.5. What we have seen last year at least.
So the 85th percentile mark for VRC, if we peg it at say 24, 23, and for DLR maybe 11, 12, for quant maybe 17, 18. Add these up, you're looking at 53, 54, and a little bit more to get to 90. 56,
the 3 marks more is what I would say.
Yeah. That's the logic that I think Arch is pitching. Sounds about fair. Again, we're just hypothesizing here. We don't have data. We've not digested the thing. We're saying, hey, maybe this is the ballpark. I think the kind of consensus seems to be that it was tougher than last year. And I didn't find any section to be significantly easier than last year. Now, I thought quant was lengthier and bigger. DLR was, I thought was way tougher, but I have skipped or completely not seen the easiest set apparently. So I'm probably the wrong person to make a judgment on that. But it looks like all three sections were a smidgen tougher than last year, which should be good news for cutoffs and marks and all that. Akib took the first slot. The rest of us took the third slot. So over to you, Akib.
You're on mute.
Akib, you are mute.
I've covered the details of how the section was and all that in the previous live session, but I'll just give an overview of what it was like. For VARC, it was when compared to last year, I would say it was slightly easier. But I did not take risk with attempting the newer type of question, which is the fill in the sentence.
Correct. That was a little bit of a joker in the pack, and that threw me off guard a little bit.
But apparently, it was easier in my section, in my slot.
I didn't find it easy.
Yeah, in slot 3 also, I went with the expectation that they'll be easy, but they weren't really very straightforward. Okay. Yeah.
So I did not take risk with that. So I did not even see what it was about. So and then regarding DLR was I think it was comprehensible, doable, but time consuming is what I thought. So and the quant section would be slightly difficult than what it was earlier, because the main reason that I think I found it difficult was I did not find any freebie in there. I did not find any freebie. Maybe one. That's the max that I could tell. And last year, I'm definitely sure I found at least 4 or 5 freebies, but this year none. Virtually zero. So I would rate verbal to be slightly easier, DLR to be around the same difficulty of last year, and quant to be slightly more difficult than last year. That's how I would rate it. Yeah, that's it.
Wonderful. But I think there are a bunch of questions which I'm going to jump in and see. When will the answer key and response sheet be released? Usually first week of end of first week of December, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. That is the window we get first. Basically, after 5-6 days of December are gone, that's the time when we get answer key and results. After which I think we'll have a better sense of where the percentiles could fall, and once we collect the data and digest it and all of that. Which slot was toughest? You just simply don't need to worry about it. Always the slot I take is the toughest.
Yeah.
At least that's what I keep saying. So we really can't take a judgment on this. You have to obviously we don't digest, nobody takes all 3 slots, you can't digest it. After the data is out, we'll usually be able to make a good judgment on it.
And Rajesh, this year I do agree with your assessment that slot 3 was the toughest.
I think Arsh will also say yes.
I didn't do well. That's why
I'm the only one out. Okay, now I can't offend you guys. You guys are 3 and I'm just 1.
The slot already took care of all the offense and all the destruction and all that. I don't think you can do any more damage.
Tips for 2023 aspirants. I've got a bunch of questions on that. Don't worry about it now. You have a year to go. Don't just look and see from the sidelines. Have a crack at this. Enjoy yourself. And those of you who are thinking about 2023 but have taken 2022, nice. You've had a good fun experience. You know what the gig is about. You should define how you are preparing. The beautiful bird's eye view of what the exam itself is. Solve tons of questions for quant, because automating the process, just looking at it and getting the idea and going on autopilot, super important. Build stamina for LRDI, because it's super tiring. A couple of times, if it were a mock, I would have walked out. If it were not for real CAT, I would have just walked out. I said, let me go and have some fun. I can't believe I sacrificed watching a football match last night for this. And so I would have walked out. So the stamina, grit, that part matters a lot. For verbal, read tons. But otherwise, take it in. You can worry about this a little later on. Right? One other person had said, I spent so much time on this, and it's distressing. It's a bunch of things. First of all, on the day, if it doesn't fall in place, it's a complete nightmare. You feel like I've invested so much in this time, energy, emotional investment, sab kuch. I promise you, and I think Jatin, Narch, Nakib, all of them will agree, things will look very different 3 days from now. Not because the percentiles, marks, numbers will come in. We'll get a sense of perspective about kuch to prepare kiya, try mara. I got to learn a lot of things. Big deal if a 2-hour exam doesn't go my way. And so it will feel way better 3 days from now. Just throw it off, shrug it off, and focus on the 5 other things that are going well in your life. I don't know where you will go, how you're headed, but I can tell you this very confidently. I think Jatin and Arch especially, because they speak to tons of students, they'll also chime in probably on this, that it is never as distressing as it is on day 0. And you come out and you feel like, I mean, you scream out and you give galis and say, "Pata nahi kya kar diya ye logon ne? I am Bangalore dash hai, kitne dash hai, kaise kar diya, mera dash laga diya, etc., etc., etc." And then it feels like pura 8 mahina bigat gaya, 9 mahina bigat gaya. What is happening to my life? And then 3 days later, you feel like, look, I prepared. I'm better off for it. Life goes on. Take the other exams with full guts. But don't. I can tell you that this will go away. And so don't.
Rajesh.
Yep.
Rajesh, at least one myth has got broken once again, that despite it being from IIM Bangalore, they have not made anything different about a VARC as they have done for either DI or a quant kind of thing. They made equally tough for all three, or that's just, I mean, the kind of myths that float around, it's so funny even to even acknowledge that actually.
Correct. We keep hearing that I am Bangalore hai to VRC difficult hoga, I am Calcutta hai to quant difficult hoga. No, not much basis to any
the
of
data
this.
has never
Correct,
supported
never.
any such myth, any such kind of deduction. Yep.
Correct. Spot on. We should be glad that it has been, at least one myth has been dispelled. But knowing us, 12 months from now, I am Calcutta is connected the next one, we'll again say quant stuff. Some things just don't get killed.
Yeah, I'll just
500 checks answers. I think I got 12. I'm not sure about that.
Right, Rajesh, I'll just quickly add to that, to your point about, like, let's say if somebody, as they said in the comment, right, that they were feeling distressed and stuff. So, I completely agree with Rajesh. I think today, especially, emotions are going to run really high, right? I mean, you've just sort of, you've been preparing for like 8 months, 12 months, all of that sort of culminates today. All the stress gets released. You're hungry, you're battered, you've commuted for so long, you're sleepy, all of that is going to play, and those emotions are going to run really high. And the impact right now is going to feel 10x than what it is in reality, right? So I completely agree. Just let 2 to 3 days pass, right? Please rejuvenate yourself, do whatever it takes to sort of, stress buster and all of that. Celebrate the fact that, you've put in so many efforts and all of that. And 3 days later, you'll get a better perspective on this. Okay. So that's one. Second, as I always say, it's an exam. Okay. It's an important exam. I'm not denying that, but it's an exam at the end of the day. There are 10 other great options to build your career. Okay. CAT is not the be all and end all of your world. So yeah, well, let the answer key come in, let the results come in. Happy to talk to you about 10 other great options that you have, right? So yeah, just let some time pass, and I'm sure you'll definitely feel better. Just take care of yourself in the next 3 days. Don't overburden yourself. Just sort of like, eat well, enjoy, go out with friends, all of that, and just rejuvenate yourself.
Rajesh, there is one point to say here. Actually, like Jatin has said, forget about whether you have done well or not. When we are coming back and saying we don't know whether you have done well, there is no way you can deduce that you have done badly in the first place. You might feel sad about it because you might not have got enough questions on board. But like Rajesh, you said, if you can make a mistake of not picking up a easy set, think about, I suspect that 200,000 of them would have also missed out. And I'm actually saying that a lot of people I've met have missed it out. So I think just wait out. A pleasant surprise might be in store for a lot of you.
Correct. I think.
Right. I have to go to cliched Bollywood dialogue here. You all know what I'm going to say, but picture abhi baki hai. right? We have not even reached interval. Answer key will probably be interval, and then the climax will be the percentile rankings that come out in the market.
Correct.
Just hold on. Hold
The
on.
point I'm trying to make is I'm saying even assuming you've done badly, it's not the end of the world.
Correct.
Sometimes
Absolutely.
we don't know that we have not done badly, but assume your gut feel says you've done badly and assume it turns out to be true. It still doesn't matter. It still doesn't matter. Obviously, we are competitive. We're taking this exam. We want to go places. We are ambitious, aspirational, everything. So, aaj ke din to going to be nightmarish. But that complete feeling, you have not wasted your life. You're prepared for 6-8 months. You've not wasted your life. Some of the best guys who I've worked with, 2IM, who are the guys who missed, who bungled 2, 3, 4 cats in a row, are the guys who go places because they are sharp, they put fight, they turn up, their brain function, their IQ is good, their attitude towards work is good, they'll automatically go places. So it is not that big a deal of an exam. So keep that in mind. I know it sounds like an inane piece of thing to hear today, but take it from us that 3 days later you'll not be thinking like, what a loser I am. Which is not the case at all. And everybody goes. It's a 2-hour exam is super cruel.
Yeah,
super cruel.
I agree.
So keep that in mind. And I'm saying this as someone who's been very happy in a 2 or 3 hour exam setting. That's my only big claim to success in my life. I've cleared exams. That's the only thing I've done. And so I should be not saying this, but I'm telling you the 3 or 2 hour exams are real cruel. They are not the metric or benchmark of what you're worth. So don't beat yourself up.
Yeah. And sorry, one more thing. I hate to give so much again. I'm going to just stop after this, but just one more thing that I strongly believe in. When somebody just said in chat that all of this has gone to waste, all these skills that you've picked up, these 3 core skills, English reading, your numerical skills and your analytical skills, believe me, it will help you for the rest of your professional life. It's going to help you whenever you do your MBA. Even if you don't do your MBA in your professional career, these 3 skills will always help you. So please don't think they've gone to waste. You will reap the rewards in multiple ways of all the effort that you've put in. Okay. So yeah, I'm just going to stop the gyan now. Here.
Somebody said, why being an IIM Bangalore alumnus, why didn't you tell your friends to set an easier paper? First of all, if I call any of them my friends, they're going to beat me up. There's no way of reaching out to them. If I had my way, I would say make the paper more approachable, less weirdly limiting and dispiriting. I want the paper to have everybody to have access to half the questions, which I don't think was the case. You need to have a feeling of, I don't know how they are assessing. If 4 questions right in a section is obtained only by 7-8% of the people. LRDI, it's very much possible that 4 into 3, 12 marks is 93rd percentile, which I think would be so cruel. And I don't know what they are achieving with it, but hey, they're not listening to us anyway. Any of you guys, if you have any question that you can see here and you want to answer, go ahead. Otherwise, we'll call it a day and say best wishes and move on to XAT. And we will come out with some kind of, hey, this mark can give you this percentile. But remember, all the so-called experts on I think one thing this exam has taught us, or should have definitely taught us by now, is some amount of humility. This exam can humble you, this percentile prediction can humble you, the result can humble you. And so keep it in mind, there's no one who can lay claim to being a super expert in predicting and all of that. None of that matters really. It's sometimes we find succor in knowing some range. So we guys try to see if we can give some range. But then the real thing happens on December 7, 8. The real thing happens on Jan 9, 10. So don't put too much store on these numbers. And so, but we will come out with something like that in a couple of days. Over to you guys.
I think that's good. Yeah, I think CAT is over and done with, dusted for the moment. There is an IFT, there is a ZAD, then math, everything else coming up. Focus there, and also your interview preparation. Even if you think you have done badly, trust me, after having done this for too long, you would be surprised to get a call or a good percentile, and then you will be scrambling to prepare. Start preparing right away. That's all I can say. All the best.
Yeah.
Completely agree. +1 to what Arks has said. And yeah, I mean, there's nothing more to add. I just, again, reiterating, just in now, sort of, you've worked hard, the exam is over, take a break. Okay, don't jump into tomorrow, sort of aggressively starting to prepare for SNAP or IFT or ZAT. Take a couple of days off. Okay, do the things that you haven't been able to do because of the CAT prep, right? Rejuvenate yourself. That rejuvenation will really help you when you come back to your prep. Okay, don't just jump onto something tomorrow. Take a couple of days off.
Somebody here has asked whether we have started batches for CAT 2023. We have. In many ways, they are running on. We're starting a batch next week as well. Do reach out to us. We'll give you all the details. Those of you several have approached me saying, we had a bunch of people saying, look, I'm taking CAT 2022 just for the sake of it, but my real thing is 2023. Then you guys should say, look, the game starts now.
Yes.
I've taken this exam. I know what is in store. I will start now. Any of you want some help with batches, timing, schedules, and how to prepare, plan, syllabus, strategy, all of that, reach out to us. I'm not going to take this session to give a download on that because it's really unfair on the people who are kind of digesting their CAT 2022. So leave it out there. We will discuss it. We'll get into deeper and deeper for 2023 from tomorrow, day after onward. Please reach out to us. We're here to help. Wonderful folks. Best wishes. Switch off in some form from this whole malarkey for at least 2-3 days. Those of you who have done well, best wishes. Look forward to hearing from you. Hope you get your 50-50s and some borderline answers and guesses all go your way. Best wishes for that. Those who feel like you've not done well, like Jatin and Ars have been at pains to point out, you could be pleasantly surprised. So there is hope. And if it still doesn't fall in place, check it. There are 100 other things to do.
Yeah.
Best wishes, guys. Thank you. I'm signing off now. So any last words? Jump in now. I'm signing off in 2 seconds.
Goodbye. Good night.
Many thanks for Akib, Jatin, and Arks for jumping in and reasonably short notice. I know you guys were just gone back, which is why I started the session. I knew you would all join back in 3 minutes, 10 minutes. So many thanks for taking the time out and jumping in.
You're welcome. Okay. Bye.
I'm still struggling to find that don't go live button.